Hey guys, happy to be here with another D&D daily video. This one is a flavor build, one that I'm really excited for. I know I haven't been doing the flavor builds for too long, but if there's one thing you need to know about me in D&D is that I love giants. Now, I don't know why I love giants. I think they're really cool, a lot cooler than dragons, which I know is a hot take, but I love giants. I think they're the coolest monsters in D&D. But today I'm really excited for this build because it is a giant build, specifically one that uses the path of the Giant Barbarian. So without further ado, let's get into it. This build uses the Path of the Giant, and what I like about this build is it uses a lot of the Path of Giant's features and just cranks them up to 10. It uses the extra reach, it uses the extra damage to just make it a really good, solid build. I really like it. So the first thing for this build is our lineage. The lineage we're going to do is the Bugbear. Now the Bugbear does a couple of really cool things for this build. First, there's a couple of niche ones. The powerful build lets us count as large when we're doing any strength checks or things like that for specific weights, which your DM may or may not implement. The second one was you get proficiency in stealth and can squeeze into smaller spaces. This is just really cool. And then we start getting into things that are really helpful for us. First is Fey Ancestry. This gives us advantage against charm saves, which are one of Barbarian's big weaknesses because of their low wisdom, so this really helps out. The second one is Long Limbed. This allows us to add an extra 5 feet of reach on our attacks we make on our turn. The on our turn part of that is actually going to be pretty important, which we'll discuss later. And the last and arguably most important feature that we're going over here is Surprise Attack. This allows us to deal an extra 2d6 damage on each attack that we make if we move before an enemy in combat. So it's that first turn of combat. If we have a higher initiative than they do, we get to just nuke a ton of damage on them, and that's one of the things that this build's going to focus on. Now, beyond our lineage, we have our stats. We're going to go classic Barbarian stats, focusing on strength, constitution, and dexterity. With these, we want to be as high as they can. A 16 in all three of them would be great if we can get that with point buy or something like that. Anything else would work, but those are the three stats we're going to want to focus. In the first two levels of Barbarian, the one we really want to call out is Reckless Attack. Now this build, we will be picking up feats, so our ASIs are going to be delayed, meaning our strength is going to be lower. And Reckless Attack really just helps buffer our accuracy on our attacks, making sure we're not missing. It's a really valuable add-on to this build. And at level 3, we pick up Path of the Giant. Now at level 3, it does a couple things for us. First, it gives us some niche stuff with learning to read and write giant and one cantrip. These are just minor, but they are pretty cool and flavorful. I like them for the flavor alone, which is pretty cool for a Barbarian. And then we get Giant's Havoc. Now this allows us to get our rage damage on thrown weapon attacks, and it also allows us to gain an extra 5 feet of reach on our attacks. Now this extra 5 feet of reach does stack with our Bugbear Long Limbs, meaning if we have a normal weapon with a 5 feet of reach, we're now at +5, we're at 15 feet of reach. However, in this build, we're going to be using a halberd, a glaive, a polearm with reach, so we're going to be able to hit people from 20 feet away on our turn with our attacks, which is really unique for a Barbarian to be kind of this long range but not long range attacker. Now at Barbarian level 4, we are going to pick up a feat, and the feat we're going to be picking up is the Polearm Master feat. Now the Polearm Master feat does a couple things for us. First, it lets us make a bonus action attack when we use our polearm to attack with our action. Now this is great, it's just more damage. Barbarians love getting extra attacks off because it lets them stack their rage modifier. So this is even better for us. It's really great. The second thing it does is it lets us do opportunity attacks when enemies approach us. Now one important feature of this is we have 20 feet of reach on our turn when we make an attack, so we can hit somebody from 20 feet away. However, that extra 5 feet from Bugbear's Long Limbs only applies on our turn. So as soon as it's not our turn and an enemy comes to approach us, we still get to proc our Polearm Master reaction opportunity attack when they're approaching us at 15 feet. Now this is a really good interaction for us because it means we can be a little bit less careful with our positioning. If we're attacking somebody from max range, we don't need to back up afterwards, potentially provoking opportunity attacks from somebody else or things like that. It lets us be a little bit more flexible with that, and it lets us get those opportunity attacks more frequently. And the next big level for us is Barbarian 6. This gives us Elemental Cleaver. Now Elemental Cleaver gives one weapon we're holding when we rage the thrown property, and it lets us add an extra d6 onto its damage rolls. Now the thrown property for us isn't actually that great because we're already hitting from 20 feet away as a Bugbear giant anyways, so it's really more about this extra damage. However, with the 2 attacks we're making from extra attack and the bonus action attack from Polearm Master, that's 3 extra d6 a turn. That's quite a bit of damage for just picking this up. And the nice thing about it is it's not bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, it's one of these elemental types of damage, which makes this really, really good. And this polearm master, our long reach, and our extra damage per attack is the three things we're going to be building on for this build. Those are the things that we're going to have as the core of this build and really want to focus on. And at level 7 in Barbarian, we expand on this further with Feral Instinct. Now, Feral Instinct gives us advantage on initiative rolls. The reason that this advantage on initiative rolls is really good for us is because of Bugbear's sneak attack. So now we have advantage on initiative rolls, we can roll high and consistently go before enemies, and we've had sneak attack since level 1, but now with advantage on those initiative rolls, we can consistently go before enemies and get these big attacks off. So with sneak attack, our glaive is doing a d10, plus our strength modifier, plus our rage modifier, plus a d6 from our special giant weapon, and plus an additional 2d6 for a sneak attack. That's a ton of damage, and we get to do 2 of those attacks and then 1 attack that's slightly weaker than that with our pommel strike. And even when we're not getting the sneak attack off, we're still dishing out quite a bit of damage against our enemies. And at level 8 in Barbarian, we're going to pick up another feat. This one, like you might have guessed, is going to be Sentinel. Sentinel allows this build with our opportunity attacks to really have a good control on the battlefield. Now, Sentinel is great for helping us dish out extra attacks with the feature of if an ally gets attacked, but it also allows us to control the battlefield through stopping movement when we make opportunity attacks. Now, this applies both when somebody leaves our range and when somebody enters our range for our polearm master opportunity attack, meaning we can lock these people down across the battlefield and really trap them in these awkward positions. It's really good, especially if our opponents don't have range attacks and don't have reach. It just allows us to really capitalize on those gaps in our enemies and really just overcome them with that pure positioning and that really fun combination of skills. Now, to compound on this further, we're now going to switch into Fighter at level 9. Now, with this first level in Fighter, the real thing that we pick up here is a fighting style. Now, this fighting style, we have a couple options. We could take the standard Great Weapon fighting style for a little bit more consistency in our damage, but I'm actually leaning towards Superior Technique. This allows us to pick up 1 superiority die and 1 maneuver that allows us to use it once a day. Some of these maneuvers that I'm looking at include trip attack, goading attack, menacing attack, things that allow us to help out our teammates when we're making these attacks. Now, I like goading and menacing because it gives our enemies disadvantage, and it also allows us just to kind of have a debuff support in the game. And when we are trapping an enemy with our Sentinel opportunity attacks, that's a good time to use these, especially something like goading attack, to make sure that our enemies can't attack our allies. And it really funnels them towards us, which is great because we already resist most damage with rage, and it gets us our opportunity attacks off consistently. At Fighter 2, we pick up Action Surge, always great, especially for that first turn of combat. If on that first turn of combat we get initiative before like the big bad, and we get to attack, Action Surge, attack, all while raging, all while getting the extra 2d6 from sneak attack and 1d6 from our giant's weapon, that's going to be a ton of damage that we're outputting, and honestly it's just a great start to a fight to just dish out like 60 damage in the first turn at least. With our next level, we're going to pick up level 3 and go into the Echo Knight. Now, the Echo Knight does a couple more things for us. First, it gives us extra attacks equal to our Constitution modifier per day when we're attacking from our Echo space. This is just more attacks, it's just better, it's just more of what we do, what we love, it's great. The second thing it does for us is it lets us create our Echo and attack from our Echo's space. Now, this is great because now we can have us over here and our Echo over here and pin an enemy between us. If they go either way, they get opportunity attacked and gets locked in place. The other reason that this is great, the third thing the Echo Knight does for us, which is really great, is allows us to swap with our Echo. So now if we are over here and our Echo's over here, we trap somebody in the middle, and then they're gonna keep running this way. We swap with our Echo, make them go the other way, and make them take the opportunity attack over here, so then they're trapped with our Echo again. This is also just great for extra mobility in or out of combat. It's unlimited teleports, 30 feet plus each time, and all it takes is a bonus action. This is very, very powerful, and it's great for this build. So Echo Knight does a ton for just amping this build up that 1 extra level. I think that this is a really cool build and a really fun way to do Bugbear, and a really fun way to do Giant, and a really fun way to make them both mesh together. Let me know what you thought of this build, and we will see you on the next one. Have a good one.